The champagne tastes expensive. Bruce can tell. Not that he drinks much. He never has. But you can distinguish expensive from cheap just by the bubbles. How they feel, how they move, how they make even carbonation seem luxurious. This is Hollywood expensive. Real Hollywood. The kind of party Bruce usually avoids, usually declines, usually manufactures excuses to miss. Training schedules, filming commitments, literally anything except attending events where people air kiss and network and perform liking each other while calculating value. Calculating usefulness. Calculating whether knowing you advances their career, their status, their position in the invisible hierarchy that runs this town, this industry, this entire artificial world built on pretending. But Chuck insisted, really insisted, called 3 times, showed up at Bruce's house, made it personal, made it about friendship. Come on, man, you can't hide forever. You're a star now. Enter the Dragon made you legitimate, made you bankable, made you someone these people need to acknowledge, need to accept, need to include. So let them include you, let them see you, let them understand you're not going away, you're not temporary, you're not flavor of the month, you're here, you're real, you're permanent. Show them that. Not through movies, through presence, through existing in their space, through making them uncomfortable by being undeniable. That's power, real power. Use it. So Bruce came, wearing the suit Linda picked out. Black, simple, classic, nothing flashy, nothing that signals trying too hard, just professional, just appropriate. Just good enough to belong without attempting to outshine. That's impossible anyway. This is the Beverly Hills Hotel, the Crystal Ballroom, 700 people, directors, producers, studio executives, A-list actors, everyone who matters in Hollywood, everyone who makes decisions, everyone who controls who works, who succeeds, who gets opportunity. They're all here, in tuxedos, in gowns, in jewelry that costs more than most people earn in a year, in everything that signals wealth, power, access, belonging. Bruce has a suit, has an invitation, has Chuck Norris vouching for him. That's enough. Barely, but enough. The room is massive. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, gold accents everywhere, tables arranged in circles, white tablecloths, expensive centerpieces, name cards written in calligraphy. Everything designed to impress, to overwhelm, to remind everyone present that Hollywood is special, is exclusive, is a club that not everyone gets to join. Bruce finds his table. Table 17. Not center, not near the stage, not where important people sit. But not the back corner either, not where nobodies get placed out of sight. Somewhere in the middle, somewhere that acknowledges presence without suggesting importance. That's fine. Bruce doesn't need the center table, doesn't need proximity to the stage, doesn't need visible validation. He just needs to be here, just needs to exist in this space. Just needs to begin normalizing an Asian face at Hollywood events, an Asian actor at industry functions, an Asian person belonging in a room full of power. That's work, real work, different from martial arts, different from movies, no less important, maybe more. Chuck is already there, sitting, holding the empty chair, looking uncomfortable in his tuxedo. Chuck is a jeans guy, a boots guy, a casual guy. The formal wear makes him look restricted, confined, like he's in costume, like he's playing dress-up in someone else's clothes. He stands when Bruce arrives, grins. The relief on his face is unmistakable. Thank God. I've been making small talk for 30 minutes. I've run out of things to say about weather, about traffic, about literally anything these people want to discuss. Save me, please. Talk to me about martial arts, about anything real, about anything that matters. They sit. They talk. They mostly ignore the room. The room does not ignore them. People look, whisper, point with just enough subtlety to maintain the pretense of politeness. That's Bruce Lee, the kung fu guy. The Enter the Dragon guy, the Chinese actor who somehow broke through, who somehow achieved mainstream success, who somehow did what everyone said was impossible. Asians don't lead action films, don't carry movies, don't generate revenue for studios. Except Bruce did. Bruce proved them wrong. Bruce made them reconsider, made them uncomfortable, made them wonder whether the other rules they'd accepted as fixed were also wrong. Also changeable, also not as permanent as they assumed. That's threatening, that's destabilizing. That's why they whisper, why they stare, why they're uncertain how to handle Bruce's presence, Bruce's success, Bruce's undeniable existence in their world, their industry, their exclusive club. Clint Eastwood sits 4 tables over, table 3, close to the stage, close to the podium, where important people sit. Where A-list sits, where Hollywood royalty holds court. Clint is in his element. The tuxedo looks natural on him, like the cowboy image is the costume, and this is the real Clint. Sophisticated, elegant, comfortable with wealth, with power, with being desired, with being important, with being Clint Eastwood. He's holding court, telling stories, making people laugh, commanding attention without apparent effort, without visible strain, just existing, just being magnetic in the way certain people are. in the way that makes them stars, makes them legends, makes them seem untouchable. Clint notices Bruce, eyes lock across the room, a brief moment, recognition, acknowledgement, something else, something Bruce can't quite read. Not hostility exactly, not friendliness either. Something in between, something competitive, something territorial. Something that communicates, this is my town, my industry, my world, and you're new, you're different, you're unproven, you're tolerated, not accepted, not really, not yet, maybe not ever. That's what the look says, what it communicates, what it makes Bruce understand. This isn't a welcoming environment, this is evaluation, this is judgment, this is 700 people deciding whether Bruce Lee belongs, whether he's worthy, whether he's an equal, or whether he's a novelty, whether he's temporary, whether he's a flash of audience interest that dissolves once people move on, once the kung fu trend runs its course, once they find the next thing, the next fascination, the next flavor. That's a real possibility. That's what Bruce knows, what Bruce carries, what makes these events uncomfortable, makes them necessary but painful, makes them work instead of pleasure. Dinner proceeds, multiple courses, elaborate food, small portions, everything designed to demonstrate sophistication, to separate those who understand fine dining from those who don't. Bruce picks at his plate, not hungry, too aware of eyes, of whispers, of being observed, being judged, being measured against standards he doesn't fully understand, standards that weren't designed with him in mind, weren't created with an Asian actor in the equation. Were created for white actors, white stories, white Hollywood. He's an intruder here, a guest, a barely tolerated presence. That's clear, painfully clear. After dinner, the speeches begin. Industry awards, recognition, self-congratulation, Hollywood celebrating Hollywood, producers thanking producers, directors praising directors, and everyone acknowledging everyone else in a carefully choreographed ritual of mutual validation. Bruce half listens, half watches, half present, wondering why he came. Why he subjected himself to this, why Chuck convinced him this mattered. This doesn't feel like mattering. It feels like enduring, like surviving, like getting through the evening so he can go home, go back to training, go back to a world that makes sense, a world where skill means something, where dedication means something, where Bruce belongs, actually belongs, not conditionally, not temporarily, actually, completely, without question. Then Clint takes the microphone, unplanned, unscheduled. He simply stands, walks to the podium, and takes control. That's what stars do. They change the agenda. They make moments. They own rooms, own events, own everything they touch. For he's grinning, that Clint grin. Dangerous, charming, unpredictable. The room goes quiet, listening, waiting, wondering what Clint will say, what he'll do, what moment he's creating, what story they'll tell tomorrow about tonight. I want to talk about something, Clint says, voice carrying without effort. The microphone is almost unnecessary. He has presence. He has the room's complete attention. Something that's been bothering me, something I think needs addressing. We're in an interesting time. The industry is changing. Studios are desperate for new content, new stars, new everything. That's fine. That's good. Change is necessary. But some of the changes concern me. Some of the directions we're heading make me wonder if we're losing something. Losing what made Hollywood great, made American cinema special. Some made our films the best in the world. We're chasing trends instead of maintaining standards. We're elevating novelty instead of rewarding mastery. We're making stars out of people who haven't earned it, haven't paid their dues, haven't proven themselves beyond a single successful film, a single good performance, a single lucky break. That's not how this should work. That's not what Hollywood should be. We should be more selective, more demanding, more committed to excellence, to real excellence, not temporary excitement, not foreign novelty, not kung fu gimmicks that audiences will forget next year. Real cinema, real artistry, real actors who've dedicated their lives to craft, not martial artists who learned to perform for a camera, not movie stars who are really just fighters who got lucky. Not people who stumbled into success without understanding what it means, what it requires, what it demands. The room is silent, uncomfortably silent. Everyone knows who Clint is talking about. Everyone understands the target, the foreign novelty, the kung fu gimmick, the person who stumbled into success. It's Bruce, directly, specifically, without any real ambiguity. Clint Eastwood just called Bruce Lee a hack in front of 700 people, in front of the entire industry, in front of everyone who matters. This is an attack, a public attack, an intentional attack, designed to humiliate, designed to diminish, designed to put Bruce in his place, to remind him he's not equal, not a peer, not deserving of being here, of being considered a legitimate Hollywood star. He's an outsider, an intruder, temporary, disposable, forgettable. That's what Clint is saying, what Clint is making clear. what Clint wants everyone to understand. Bruce doesn't belong. Not really. Not permanently. Not in any way that matters. Chuck's hand grips Bruce's arm, tight, restraining, knowing Bruce, knowing his pride, knowing how these words cut, how they trigger everything Bruce has spent his entire career fighting against, being dismissed, being diminished, being told he's not good enough, not real enough, not American enough, not white enough, not whatever arbitrary standard people use to exclude, to gatekeep, to maintain their power, their control, their position. Chuck knows this hurts, knows Bruce wants to respond, wants to defend himself, wants to fight back. Chuck's grip says don't, says wait, says let it go, says don't give Clint the satisfaction, don't give the room a scene. Don't confirm their assumptions, their prejudices, their beliefs about temperamental foreign actors who can't control themselves, can't behave professionally, can't belong in civilized Hollywood society. Don't prove them right. Please, just breathe, just endure, just survive this moment, this attack, this humiliation. But Bruce can't just sit there, can't just accept it, can't let Clint Eastwood call him a hack in front of 700 people, in front of the industry, in front of everyone who will remember this, who will repeat it, who will use it to justify excluding Bruce, excluding Asian actors, excluding anyone different, anyone foreign, anyone who challenges the status quo, who challenges their power, who challenges their right to decide who belongs, who matters, who deserves success. No, not accepting this. Not allowing this, not letting Clint win, not letting any of it win. Standing, responding, fighting back, with words, with truth, with everything Clint doesn't expect, doesn't want, doesn't think Bruce capable of delivering. Bruce stands. The room's attention shifts immediately, from Clint to Bruce, from the podium to table 17, from Hollywood royalty to the foreign intruder, everyone watching, everyone waiting, everyone wondering what Bruce will do, what he'll say, how he'll respond to being publicly humiliated. Publicly attacked, publicly dismissed. Most expect nothing, expect Bruce to sit back down, to accept it, to understand his place, to know he can't challenge Clint Eastwood, can't defend himself against an American icon, can't do anything except absorb the insult, accept the diminishment, know his position. That's what they expect, what they want, what they're comfortable with. That's not what they get. Mr. Eastwood, Bruce says. Voice calm, controlled, carrying across the room without a microphone, without raising his volume, just projection, just training, just years of teaching classes, commanding spaces, making presence felt. I appreciate your perspective, your concern about Hollywood's future, about maintaining standards, about rewarding real excellence and mastery and dedication to craft. Those are legitimate concerns, important concerns, concerns I share, because I agree. Hollywood should reward excellence, should recognize mastery, should celebrate those who've dedicated their lives to perfecting their craft, to becoming undeniable, to achieving a level of skill that transcends trends, transcends novelty, transcends anything temporary. I agree completely. Where I disagree is your assessment, your categorization, your dismissal of my work, my craft, my dedication, as hack work, as gimmick, as a lucky break. That's not accurate. That's not fair. That's not based on any real understanding of what I do, what I've done, what I've dedicated my entire life to achieving. Clint's expression changes. He wasn't expecting this, wasn't expecting Bruce to respond, to challenge, to defend himself. Most people don't. Most people accept Clint's judgment, accept his authority, accept his right to pronounce who's worthy, who's legitimate, who belongs. Bruce isn't accepting, isn't submitting, isn't playing the role Clint assigned, the role of the diminished foreign actor who takes his criticism and acknowledges his place. That's disruptive. That's uncomfortable. That's making Clint reconsider, making the room reconsider, making everyone see this differently, see Bruce differently, see the moment differently. From attack to response, from monologue to dialogue, from Clint controlling the narrative to Bruce challenging it, disrupting it, changing it. I've been training martial arts since age 13, Bruce continues, speaking to the room now, not just Clint, everyone. 30 years of dedicated practice, 30 years of studying, training, perfecting, mastering, multiple styles, multiple approaches, multiple philosophies, Wing Chun under Yip Man, one of the greatest martial artists who ever lived, then boxing, then fencing, then grappling, then everything I could learn, everything I could absorb, everything I could integrate into a real understanding of combat, of movement, of the human body, of physics, of psychology, of everything that makes fighting real, makes it effective, makes it art. That's not a gimmick. That's not novelty. That's dedication. That's mastery. That's a lifetime of work you're dismissing. Calling hack work. Saying it doesn't matter. Doesn't count. Doesn't deserve recognition. Why? Because it's foreign? Because it's martial arts? Because it's not acting in the traditional sense? Because it's different from what you do? What you value? What you understand? Clint shifts, uncomfortable now. Not accustomed to being challenged, not accustomed to being questioned, not accustomed to having his authority undermined, especially not by someone he just dismissed, someone he just attacked, someone who should be absorbing the insult, not responding, not fighting back. Not making Clint defend himself, explain himself, justify himself. That's not how this usually works. Usually Clint speaks and people listen, people agree, people accept. That's power. That's what it means to be Clint Eastwood. Bruce is disrupting that, changing it, making this different, making this harder than it should have been. You play cowboys, Bruce continues, voice still calm, still controlled, but with an edge now, a sharpness underneath, an uncomfortable truth underneath. You play gunslingers, you play characters, you pretend to be tough, pretend to be dangerous, pretend to be skilled with weapons, with fighting, with everything your characters do. That's acting, that's performance, that's a craft you've perfected. And I respect that. I genuinely do. You're excellent at it, at making people believe, at making characters real, at creating performances that resonate, that entertain, that matter, that's valuable, that's worthy of recognition, of everything you've achieved. I'm not dismissing that. Not attacking it, not suggesting you're a hack, not suggesting you're a gimmick, not suggesting you're anything except an excellent actor who's mastered his craft. So why can't you extend the same respect, the same acknowledgement, the same understanding that different doesn't mean inferior, that martial arts is also a craft, also a skill, also something that requires dedication, mastery, years of genuine work? Why must you diminish what I do to elevate what you do? Why must my success threaten your position? Why must different be wrong, be less than? Be unworthy of belonging in the same industry, the same room, the same recognition? The room is completely still now. No coughing, no whispers, no movement, just silence. Total attention. Everyone locked on Bruce and Clint, on the confrontation unfolding between them. This is real drama, not scripted, not performed, real. Two legends, two approaches, two philosophies, colliding publicly, unavoidably, undeniably. This is a moment people will talk about, will remember, will reference for years. When Bruce Lee confronted Clint Eastwood, when an Asian actor challenged an American icon, when different stood up to traditional, when the excluded refused exclusion. That's what this is. That's what everyone in the room understands they're witnessing. You call me a hack, Bruce says, voice getting quieter now, more intense, more focused. You call my work a gimmick. You suggest I haven't earned my place, haven't paid my dues, haven't proven myself. Let me tell you what I've proven, what I've earned, what I've dedicated my life to achieving. I can do things you can't, things most people can't, not because I'm naturally exceptional, because I've trained, because I've worked, because I've spent 30 years perfecting my body, my technique, my understanding of combat, of movement, of human potential. You act tough. I am tough. You pretend to fight. I actually fight. You perform for a camera. I perform for a camera after mastering the reality, after proving that the techniques work. After testing everything, after earning the right to teach, to demonstrate, to share. That's the difference. Not better, different. And you're threatened by it. Threatened by an Asian actor succeeding. Threatened by martial arts working on film. Threatened by a different approach to action cinema. Threatened by everything I represent. Everything I prove is possible. Everything that challenges your dominance, your position, your understanding of how Hollywood should work, who should succeed, who should matter. You're threatened. And instead of acknowledging that, instead of examining it, instead of growing from it, you attack, you diminish, you dismiss, you call me a hack, you suggest I'm temporary, you try to put me in my place, keep me there, make sure I understand I don't belong, that I'm not equal, that I'm not worthy of being in the same room, the same industry, the same conversation. That's not about craft, that's not about standards, that's about control, about power, about keeping Hollywood white, keeping it traditional, keeping it exclusive, keeping people like me out, keeping different from succeeding. Keeping change from happening. That's what this is really about. And everyone in this room knows it, even if they won't say it, won't acknowledge it, won't admit it. They know. And now you know that I know, that I see through it, that I won't accept it, that I'll fight it, that I'll challenge it every time, without hesitation, without fear, without accepting that your position gives you the right to diminish mine. Clint's face is red, angry, embarrassed, being challenged, being called out, being made to look bad, not by an equal, but by the very person he publicly dismissed, The person who should be accepting the dismissal, not fighting back, not making Clint defend himself, not exposing Clint's insecurity, his fear of change, of competition, of sharing space, sharing recognition, sharing Hollywood with people who don't look like him, don't come from where he comes from, don't represent what he represents. Bruce is exposing all of it, making it visible, making it undeniable, making everyone see what they'd pretended not to know, what they'd accepted, what they'd participated in. Exclusion, gatekeeping, all dressed up as maintaining standards, protecting quality, rewarding excellence, all of it exposed by Bruce speaking truth, speaking directly, speaking in a way nobody expected, nobody predicted, nobody thought Bruce capable of. Prove it, Clint says, voice tight, controlled, angry. You talk about mastery, about dedication, about being tough. Prove it. Show this room. Show me. Show everyone that you're not just words, not just talk, not just a foreign actor who got lucky. Prove you're legitimate. Prove your martial arts are real. Prove you can back up everything you've claimed, everything you've said, right here, right now, in front of everyone. Prove it. It's a challenge. A clear challenge, a dangerous challenge, one that could go very wrong, that violates every rule, every standard, every expectation of a civilized Hollywood event. You don't challenge people to physical confrontation. Don't demand proof through violence. Don't create situations where someone could get hurt, where lawsuits happen, where careers end, where everything unravels. But Clint does it anyway. Because he's angry. Because he's cornered. Because he needs to change the narrative, change the focus, change everything from him being exposed to Bruce being tested. That's what the challenge accomplishes. It makes this about Bruce proving himself instead of Clint defending himself. That's the tactic. That's the strategy. That's what powerful people do when threatened, when challenged, when exposed. They change the subject, change the focus, change who's being examined, who's being judged, who's being tested. Bruce should decline, should walk away, should let the moment end here, with truth spoken, with Clint exposed, with Bruce maintaining his dignity, his professionalism. Everything appropriate to a Hollywood event, to civilized society, to being better than stooping to physical confrontation. That's what Bruce should do, what Linda would want him to do, what Chuck is silently begging him to do, what makes sense, what's smart, what protects everything Bruce has built. He should decline, should walk away, should let this end. But he doesn't, can't, won't. Because declining looks like backing down, looks like being unable to prove his claims, looks like talk without substance, looks like everything Clint suggested. Hack, gimmick, lucky break, undeserving, unable to back up words with action, unable to demonstrate mastery, unable to prove legitimacy. That's what declining communicates. That's what the room will remember. That's what will spread. Bruce Lee talked tough but folded when challenged. Bruce Lee couldn't prove his martial arts. Bruce Lee is just an actor after all, not a real martial artist, not a real anything, just a pretender who got exposed when it mattered. That's the narrative. That's the story. That's what Hollywood will tell, what they'll believe, what they'll use to justify continued exclusion, continued dismissal, continued keeping Bruce in his place, keeping Asian actors marginalized, keeping different from succeeding. That's the cost of declining. That's the price of walking away. That's why Bruce can't, why Bruce won't, why Bruce steps forward, accepts, commits, makes this real. Okay, Bruce says, simply, calmly, decisively. What do you want? What proof do you need? What demonstration satisfies you? What makes you acknowledge that martial arts are real, that my skills are legitimate, that I'm not a hack, not a gimmick, not lucky? What convinces you? Convinces this room? Convinces everyone watching? What's the test? What's the challenge? What proves what you're demanding be proved? Clint wasn't expecting acceptance. He expected Bruce to decline, to back down, to prove Clint right, to give Clint the win. That's not happening. Bruce accepted. Bruce is ready. Bruce is calling Clint's bluff, making Clint commit. Making Clint define the test, making Clint responsible for what comes next. That's the problem, the real problem, because Clint doesn't actually want to fight Bruce, doesn't want to risk getting hurt, doesn't want to risk looking worse than he already does. He wanted theater. He wanted Bruce to fold so the narrative could shift. He wanted the challenge to produce a result without the challenge being real, without actual confrontation, without actual anything except posturing, except performance, except Bruce backing down and handing Clint the win. Bruce just made it real, made Clint have to follow through, have to define the challenge, have to commit to something concrete. Clint is trapped by his own words, his own challenge, his own need to prove something, to beat Bruce somehow, some way, anyway. The room waits, silent, tense. Understanding this is escalating into something dangerous, something that should be stopped, should be prevented, should be de-escalated by the adults in the room, by producers, by studio heads, by anyone with authority, with responsibility, with the awareness that letting this continue is a mistake, But nobody stops it. Nobody intervenes because they want to see, want to know, want to find out if Bruce Lee is real, if Kung Fu works, if an Asian martial artist can actually back up what he's claimed. They want proof too, want the test, want the demonstration, want to know if Bruce is legitimate, real, worthy of being here, of being acknowledged, of being accepted. 700 people stay silent and watch. "Hit me," Clint says finally, "right here, right now. Show these people your power, your technique, your mastery. Hit me. Hard as you can. Best technique you have. Everything you claim to be able to do it. Prove it. Show me. Show everyone." It's a trap. Obviously a trap. Clint is bigger, taller, heavier. He can absorb a punch. He can take the hit, can shrug it off, can laugh, can dismiss it, can prove that Bruce's strike doesn't matter, doesn't hurt, doesn't demonstrate anything except that size matters, that traditional American toughness beats foreign technique, that Clint is right, that Bruce is wrong. That's the setup. That's the plan. That's what Clint expects, what Clint wants, what Clint believes will happen. Bruce understands, sees the trap, knows it completely, could refuse, could change the terms, could suggest a different test, could do anything except what Clint demands, what Clint wants, what Clint expects. But Bruce doesn't change the terms, doesn't refuse the challenge, doesn't do anything except step closer, step toward Clint, stand face to face, or nearly, face to chest more accurately. Clint is 6'4", Bruce is 5'7". The height difference is significant. The visual difference reinforces everything Clint wants. Small Asian man versus tall American man, technique versus size, foreign versus traditional, everything Clint represents, everything Clint uses to dismiss Bruce, to diminish him, to suggest he doesn't belong, doesn't matter, doesn't deserve recognition, all of it visible, all of it present, all of it making Clint confident, making Clint certain this works. This proves his point. This gives him the win. This ends Bruce. This ends the challenge. This ends everything except Clint's dominance, Clint's position, Clint's power. Bruce's hand moves. No wind-up, no telegraphing, no warning. It just moves. Faster than anyone watching can track. Faster than Clint can react. Faster than conscious thought. Wing Chun straight punch, vertical fist 1 inch, traveling 1 inch. From Clint's chest penetrating through, not hitting the surface, hitting through it, hitting structure, hitting center, hitting everything that matters. Power generated not from the arm alone, from the entire body, from the ground up, through the legs, through the hips, through the core, through the shoulder, through the arm, through the fist, all of it coordinated, all of it timed, all of it perfect, all of it delivered into a single point, a single moment, a single technique that makes size irrelevant, makes height irrelevant, makes everything irrelevant except mastery. Did Clint's eyes go wide? His mouth opens, breath explodes out, his body locks, rigid, every muscle engaging involuntarily, not from choice, from impact, from shock, from the technique doing exactly what it was designed to do, disrupting, controlling, overwhelming. His legs buckle, his knees give out, he drops onto his knees, right there, on the ballroom floor, in front of 700 people, in front of the entire industry, in front of everyone who matters. Clint Eastwood, Hollywood icon, Western legend, American symbol, on his knees, put there by Bruce Lee, by a 1-inch punch, by a single technique, by a demonstration that makes everything Clint dismissed undeniable, legitimate, proven beyond question, beyond doubt, beyond anything except complete acknowledgement, complete understanding. Bruce Lee is not a hack, not a gimmick. Not lucky, is a master, is legitimate, is everything he claimed, everything he defended, everything he proved in a single technique, a single moment, a single demonstration that changed the room. The room erupts, not immediately. There's a moment first, a processing moment, a moment of collective disbelief. Then chaos, gasps, shouts, movement, some people standing, some sitting frozen, some trying to help Clint, some trying to comprehend, trying to believe, trying to accept that a small Asian martial artist just dropped Clint Eastwood, put him on his knees, proved everything, demonstrated everything, made everyone who doubted understand they were wrong, made everyone who dismissed understand they need to reconsider, made everyone who excluded understand that different isn't inferior, is sometimes superior, is sometimes undeniable, is sometimes exactly what Bruce Lee represents, has always represented, will always represent. Chuck reaches Bruce, grabs his arm, not restraining this time, supporting, confirming, validating. We need to leave, now, before security, before lawyers, before this becomes bigger, becomes worse, becomes something career-ending. You proved your point, you demonstrated, you showed everyone. Now leave. Leave while you can. Leave while you won. Leave before they make you regret winning. Leave now. They leave through a side door, away from the crowd, away from the chaos, away from Clint still on his knees, still trying to breathe normally, still processing what happened, what Bruce did, What a single technique proved. They reach the parking lot, reach Bruce's car, get away before security, before police. Before anything official requires their presence, requires explanation, requires defense, requires legal involvement, just leave. Just get clear. Just survive the moment. Survive the confrontation. Survive everything that just happened. Driving home, Bruce is quiet. Processing, understanding what he did, what it means, what consequences come, what tomorrow brings, what Hollywood does with it, what the industry thinks, what 700 witnesses tell, what story spreads, what narrative forms, what Bruce becomes in the telling, hero, villain, troublemaker, legitimate, dangerous, worthy, unworthy, all of it uncertain, all of it unknown, all of it dependent on how the story gets framed, how witnesses interpret, how Hollywood decides to use it, against Bruce, for Bruce, as validation, as condemnation, as proof of legitimacy. As proof of an actor who can't control himself, can't behave professionally, can't truly belong, all possible, all uncertain, all waiting. Linda is awake when Bruce gets home, waiting, worried. She reads his face the moment he walks in, knows something happened. What? What happened? You look like you fought someone. Please tell me you didn't fight someone. Please tell me you maintained control, maintained dignity, maintained everything we've worked to build, please. Bruce tells her. Everything. Clint's speech, Bruce's response, Clint's challenge, Bruce's acceptance, the 1-inch punch, Clint on his knees, the exit, all of it. Linda listens. Her face moves through everything. Pride, fear, anger, understanding, love, support. Everything a wife feels when her husband does something simultaneously brave and reckless. Necessary and dangerous. Right and costly. Everything Bruce did. Everything Bruce is. What happens now? Linda asks. What comes next? What does Hollywood do? What do we do? I don't know, Bruce says, honestly. I defended myself, defended my art, defended every Asian actor, every person who's different trying to belong, trying to succeed, trying to matter. I stood up. I proved something. I demonstrated something. I made 700 people understand that I'm legitimate, that I'm real, that I'm not a hack, not a gimmick, not anything except a master who earned his place, who deserves his success, who belongs. That's what I proved, what I demonstrated, what I made undeniable. Whatever comes next, I have that. They have that. Everyone in that room has that. Proof, truth, reality. That matters. That's worth whatever cost. Whatever consequence, whatever price I pay, it's worth it. The story spreads, immediately, completely, unstoppably. By morning, everyone knows. Bruce Lee put Clint Eastwood on his knees at a Hollywood party in front of 700 people. One punch, one technique, one demonstration, one proof, one undeniable moment that becomes everything. The details vary depending on who tells it. Some say Clint challenged Bruce. Some say Bruce provoked it. Some say it was mutual. Some call it assault. Some call it self-defense. Some say it was everything at once. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has an interpretation. Everyone has a judgment about Bruce, about Clint, about what happened, about what it means, about what comes next. Studios worry, lawyers investigate, police consider involvement, the industry debates, everyone talks. Everyone analyzes, everyone judges. But underneath all the noise, beneath all the controversy, beneath all the uncertainty, one truth remains, one fact persists, one reality cannot be denied. Bruce Lee proved himself, demonstrated himself, showed 700 witnesses that he is legitimate, that martial arts work, that an Asian martial artist deserves respect, deserves recognition, deserves to belong. That's what happened. That's what matters. That's what changed things for Bruce, for Asian actors, for everyone different trying to succeed, trying to matter, trying to belong in a space that wasn't designed to include them. Bruce showed it was possible. Bruce proved it was achievable. Bruce demonstrated it was worth fighting for, worth risking for, worth everything it costs. That's the legacy. That's the truth. That's what everyone remembers. When Clint Eastwood called Bruce Lee a hack in front of 700 people, and Bruce's response put him on his knees, literally, undeniably, permanently. That's the story, that's the truth, that's what happened.